Yeah.
Something must be done about that straw hat.
Breaking news! Monkey D. Luffy has become one of the 4 Yokai.
On their way to the next adventure, the Straw Hats found Bonney, and Bonney gave us some sweet fan service. We saw her side boob, and later on, Bonney was given a tight, revealing bodysuit, and her legs showed all the way. Yowza! So of course, later on, in that same arc, where Bonney was given a tight bodysuit and we saw her side boob, Oda reveals that Bonney was 12 years old. What the heck? Oda decided to reveal that Bonney was actually 12 years old in the same arc where he decided to show her naked and gave her a tight, revealing bodysuit. Bonney, just being 12 years old, makes the 11 Supernovas no longer seem badass. Let's be real. And back in the day, when the 11 Supernovas were introduced, she was 10. Looking back at the 11 Supernovas introduction, turning Sabaody, and knowing that one of them was just 10 years old, is just weird to think about. Am I really just supposed to believe that a 10-year-old girl was able to sail in the Grand Line and make it to Sabaody completely fine? If a 10-year-old girl can sail such dangerous oceans, then I think that literally anyone could do it. Yeah, the 11 Supernovas are no longer badass. And let's be real, most of them stopped being badass way back at Wano when they became Kaido's little bitches, Kaido's little lackeys. Awakened Lucci used his gloves to stab Sentomaru, and while Sentomaru was bleeding to death, Luffy wasted precious time goofing around with Lucci, when he should have taken Lucci out in a few seconds, considering the fact what Luffy was able to do with Kaido, strongest creature alive, literally in the last arc. The fight between Luffy and Lucci was so inconsistent that after Lucci fought against Gear 5 Luffy, Lucci got back up unharmed. Lucci was completely fine after fighting Sun God Nika, the same Sun God Nika that mercilessly tortured and bullied the strongest creature alive. And spoilers, but this same Sun God Nika absolutely destroyed Kizaru and Saturn at the end of Egghead Arc. Even though before that he lost to Kizaru, because that makes sense, right? Luffy wasted precious time fighting Lucci while Sentomaru was bleeding to death right in front of them. Then Lucci got back up with no injuries in the next chapter. So much for consistent powers, right? Kaku was revealed to have an awakening ability just like Lucci, and it was all completely pointless. Because Stussy kissed Lucci and Kaku with the sea prism lipstick, taking them both out with a kiss. Aren't they supposed to be Zoro users, some of the fastest characters in One Piece? I can understand her defeating Kaku, because Kaku didn't expect Stussy to randomly start kissing him, but the fact that Lucci witnessed Stussy kissing Kaku with the sea prism lipstick and he was unable to dodge her attack makes no sense at all. Stussy even admits that if she tried to attack Lucci directly, she would have no chance against Lucci. Yet somehow she was faster than Lucci, an awakened zone type user who can use Soru. Soru, by the way, means moving so fast that it's almost like teleportation. And also, can Stassy's kiss defeat anyone? She took out Kaku and Lucci so easily. If Stussy was at Wano and if she kissed Kaido, would she have defeated Kaido also? So can she defeat literally anyone with that kiss? Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard. Yeah, Oda doesn't explain shit. That's the problem with One Piece. Stussy was revealed to be a spy working for Vegapunk. She was also revealed to be a clone of a former Rocks Crew pirate member created by Vegapunk. There are only two ways this makes any sense. Either the world government are so incompetent that they don't do any background checks when someone joins the CP0 organization, the most secret organization on the planet, by the way, the most well hidden secret organization on the planet, by the way. Or they just allowed a creation of Vegapunk to join CP0 and decided that sending her after Vegapunk would be a genius idea. I mean, these are the only two options, and both of these options make the world government seem very incompetent. Luffy fought against Kizaru and passed out after fighting Kizaru. Luffy was tired and unable to fight for 5 chapters, and this makes no sense at all, because in this very same arc, we saw Luffy fighting both Kizaru and Saturn, and Luffy was able to mold these two characters like clay, to the point that Saturn and Kizaru looked helpless against Luffy. Luffy goes against Kizaru one-on-one and passes out. Luffy goes against Kizaru and Saturn and easily overpowers them. Make this shit make any sense? Luffy passed out after fighting Kizaru. He was carried away by Franky, and Saturn used his ability to make Franky's knees weak, and Franky fell down with Luffy in his hand. The next time we see Franky, he is in the exact same position as before. But Luffy has moved away, no longer in Franky's hand, but instead Luffy is seen passed out on the other side near Saturn. How did Luffy teleport from Franky's hand all the way to the other side, like 2 feet away from Saturn? You may believe that Saturn was the one who took Luffy and moved him away. But Saturn was holding Bonney the entire time with one hand. In the other hand, Saturn held a cane. So Luffy pretty much just teleported away because Oda is not consistent as an illustrator or as a writer. Saturn was holding Bonney for 2 chapters, and all the Marines were aiming their guns at Bonney the entire time. Luffy, the greatest threat to the world government, a literal Yonko, was passed out literally 2 feet away from the Marines. And the weirdest thing is that Saturn and the Marines didn't care about the fact that Luffy, the greatest threat to the world government, was there right next to them. The fact that all the Marines were aiming at Bonney and not a single Marine cared about Luffy, you know, a Yonko who was literally laying right next to them, is just pure insanity. Oda clearly has no idea what he is doing, writing this shit, drawing this shit. Does the guy not have any editors to double check these things before the manga goes out? During chapter 1094, Saturn tried to stomp on Luffy and kill the guy, but Luffy was saved by Franky. Now that Franky is unable to move and Luffy teleported right next to Saturn, literally 2 feet away, Saturn no longer tries to kill Luffy. In fact, it seems that Saturn does not even care about Luffy's existence at all. You know, the greatest threat to the world government. Remember how the Gorosei freaked out at the end of Wano? Well, forget all about that. They were just acting. They were just goofing around, I guess. Luffy was helpless on the ground, right next to Saturn. And it would have taken Saturn literally one step to end Luffy's life. He could have tried to step on Luffy like he tried to do in chapter 1094. But Saturn was instead focused on emotionally torturing Bonney, a 12-year-old girl. And all the Marines were also busy staring at Bonney for some reason. Not a single Marine gave two fucks about a Yonko laying next to them. Not killing Luffy makes no sense at all, because during Wano, when Gorosei found out that Nika had awakened, they mentioned that Luffy needs to be snuffed out, aka killed, and Gorosei mentioned that the Sun God Nika user should not be left alive. Sun God Nika is too dangerous to be left alive. So, of course, when a bunch of food randomly appears next to Luffy and Luffy starts eating it to recover his Gear 5 transformation, Saturn sends two random marines to cuff Luffy instead of killing Luffy like he promised to do at the end of Wano arc. The guy literally promised to kill Luffy, said Luffy is too dangerous to be kept alive. And then he tells two random marines, "Hey you, go cuff Luffy. I'm too busy torturing this 12-year-old girl." What the fuck am I reading? Saturn ordered two marines to cuff Luffy. The marines were literally right next to Luffy. All they had to do was take 2 steps. So how long did it take the two marines to walk 2 steps? Well, Saturn managed to give a long speech, trying to mentally break Bonney. And during that entire speech, those two marines were still walking the 2 steps near Luffy. I find it hard to believe that it took these two marines like 5 minutes to walk 2 steps. Then Kuma arrived and Kuma created a massive explosion, giving Luffy time to either escape or giving time for someone to teleport Luffy away. If Luffy disappeared when the two marines were walking, that makes no sense at all. Because if Luffy disappeared in front of them before Kuma arrived, then we would have heard them yelling at Saturn, "Luffy disappeared! Look!" But that didn't happen, so the only way Luffy could have disappeared was when Kuma arrived. But Kuma arrived after Saturn was done giving a speech for like 5 minutes. And Luffy was literally like 2 feet away from Saturn. And it took the two marines like 5 minutes to walk 2 steps. Absolute genius writing by Oda. While Saturn was trying to emotionally torture Bonney, a 12-year-old girl, instead of, dealing with the Yonko right next to him, dealing with Sun God Nika laying right next to him, he mentioned that Kuma was stupid for believing in ridiculous legends like Nika, stupid fairy tales like Nika. This is the same Saturn that almost pissed his pants when it was revealed after Wano that Nika had returned. Very inconsistent writing by Oda. How can a character with one breath say, "Nika is a threat to us all. We have to snuff Luffy out. Nika is very dangerous to the world government." And the same guy also says that, "Oh, Nika is a stupid fairy tale. Your father was very stupid because he believed in Nika." How is this shit consistent? How can one arc be so inconsistent in its writing? And why am I the only one noticing this shit? Kuma was revealed to be dead, okay, 100% dead, at the end of chapter 1102. At the end of the next chapter, Kuma arrived to save Bonney. It was never explained how Kuma had the willpower to save Bonney. The only explanation we got was Vegapunk pretty much speculating that maybe it had something to do with the Buccaneers race. Oda killed off Kuma at the end of 1102. And I remember the reactions that the One Piece fanboys had when they made their reviews of the chapter. Almost all of them were crying. And in the next chapter, Oda just brings Kuma back. Because Oda was just trolling everyone. Because Oda, at the end of the day, doesn't have the balls to kill off a character. And the way Kuma returned, it's complete nonsense. The guy gets killed 100% dead and somehow has the willpower to go save Bonney. Not only was Kuma dead, 100% dead, but he arrived at the exact right time to save Bonney. How did Kuma know Bonney's location or that Bonney needed help at that exact moment? Never answered by Oda. He just appeared there at the right time and we should ask no questions. Kuma started running when CP0 arrived at Egghead, and he just happened to end up on Egghead right when Bonney was about to be killed by Saturn. Talk about a massive coincidence. Kuma ran through a marine base trying to get to Egghead. He started running when he was in the Revolutionary Army base. So how did he even arrive in a marine base? While running through the marine base, he was shot by marines and attacked by Sakazuki. Sakazuki heavily damaged Kuma. Then Kuma randomly decided to teleport away. Why didn't Kuma teleport away before he even got to the marine base, instead of running through the marine base like a moron? I mean, he could have teleported at any moment, but he decided to run through a marine base, taking heavy damage. Genius writing as always. Did he just forget he can teleport? Did Kuma forget that he has the ability to pretty much teleport away? What the heck? Also, when Kuma arrived on Egghead at the right time to save Bonney, because you know that makes sense, his foot that was clearly cut off by Sakazuki's magma attack was magically reattached. You can go back to the chapter. The foot was clearly removed by Akanui's attack. There is no debating this. When Saturn revealed his true form, it was revealed that only the admirals, vice admirals, and rear admirals were allowed to see Saturn's true form. Everyone else would be killed by Saturn. Saturn even blew off a marine's head, so of course all the marines were told to retreat and not to look at Saturn, and that's exactly what they did. You can see actual fear and tears in the eyes of the marines that were trying to escape, because being around Saturn means that they were going to die. Later, when Kuma attacked Saturn to save Bonney, all the same marines whose heads explode if they see Saturn are told to go save Saturn from Kuma, as if a bunch of weak marines could do anything to save Saturn from Kuma. The most they would be able to do is distract Kuma. I mean, a bunch of marines' heads exploding seems like a good distraction, but would Kuma even care? I mean, wasn't Kuma supposed to be literally just a walking corpse at this point? A walking corpse whose mission is to save Bonney. And literally appeared when Bonney needed help, even though he started running when CP0 arrived. And he just happened to be there at the exact right moment. Just like how in Game of Thrones, Arya teleported out of nowhere to kill the Night King. And everyone hated that. Everyone called that moment very stupid and said that it was the worst part of season 8. But when One Piece does shit like this, don't question it. Oda is a genius. Saturn ordered a Buster Call on Egghead. A Buster Call has always meant the destruction of an island, and everyone on it has to die. So, of course, when a bunch of Marines running away because they were given orders to retreat because of a Buster Call, they find Luffy and they want to cuff him. Because as we all know, Buster Call meant to destroy every living being on an island now means, hey you, cuff the guy. After Kizaru recovered from fighting Gear 5 Luffy, why didn't he try to go find Luffy, who at the time was helpless and unable to fight? At the beginning of the arc, we saw that Kizaru left the marine ship using his light speed ability and appeared on Egghead instantly, in a matter of seconds. Am I really supposed to now believe that Kizaru was unable to find Luffy in a few seconds after Luffy disappeared? After Kizaru recovered, he decided that instead of finding Luffy, he will just stand around doing nothing and just waste time. And Saturn never told Kizaru to go after Luffy. Saturn saw that Kizaru was just standing around like a moron, and he was like, just keep standing. I have better things to do, like chat with Vegapunk. After Lucci was defeated by Stussy, defeated by a kiss, by the way, he passed out. He woke up later, being chained by sea prism stone cuffs. Lucci told the Straw Hats he would try to help them fight the Seraphim. All they had to do was uncuff him and he will help them 100%. The Straw Hats were stupid enough to believe him and they uncuffed Lucci. Of course, Lucci then started attacking the Straw Hats. How is it possible that the Straw Hats are this brain dead? Monkey D. Luffy fully recovered his Gear 5 transformation. Why? Because the same Saturn that said Luffy should be snuffed out, aka killed, instead of killing Luffy when Luffy was laying right next to him, looking like a corpse, Saturn decided to waste time emotionally torturing Bonney, a 12-year-old girl, and later when he could have ordered Kizaru to kill Luffy, he instead wasted time chatting with Vegapunk. I guess when Saturn said that we have to snuff Luffy out, turning Wano, he didn't really mean it, okay? He was just goofing around. After Luffy recovered his Gear 5 transformation, he took Saturn and Kizaru started molding them into pizza. He started molding Saturn and Kizaru like they were made out of clay. Luffy was so powerful that there was literally nothing they could do. This makes no sense at all, because in this very same arc, Luffy struggled against just Kizaru, but now I am supposed to believe that he can easily fool around with Kizaru and Saturn at the same time. It was revealed that Vegapunk programmed a secret code in all the Pacifistas, making them obey Bonney's every command. The fact that he allowed the Pacifistas to attack them the entire time and this late in the arc revealed that Bonney was able to control the Pacifistas the entire time makes the smartest guy in the world seem like a complete moron. Why didn't he do this sooner? Why did he wait such a long time to reveal this massive secret? What the fuck is wrong with that guy? Why would the Marines invade Egghead with Pacifistas knowing that Vegapunk created them? Did they actually believe that the creator of Pacifistas didn't have a back door built in on his own creations? Why is everyone unable to use their brains in this arc? How did the quality drop this bad? Let's invade Vegapunk's island with Vegapunk's creations. What could go wrong? The Pacifistas turned against the Marines. Stussy turned against the Marines. Yet the Marines still keep using the Seraphim. Why don't they learn from their mistakes ever? Why would they still keep using Vegapunk's creations after what happened? Do they have no logical thinking at all? Vegapunk is releasing a video message that broadcasts worldwide, and it tells a secret about the world that the Gorosei does not want anyone hearing. So of course, all the 5 Gorosei members arrive on Egghead. The broadcast will be launched in 10 minutes, giving Gorosei more than enough time to try to stop it. Not sure why he didn't make it 3 minutes to make it easier for everyone. So much for being the smartest man alive. If the Gorosei members can teleport, and it's clear that they all can teleport because we have seen them all teleport from Mare Joyce all the way to Egghead. Why didn't the Gorosei ever teleport behind Luffy and try to kill the guy? They can teleport, so they could have teleported behind Luffy and killed him before he awakened Gear 5. Or how about teleport to Wano after the fight with Kaido when Luffy was passed out for a week to try and kill Luffy? I guess that's too much logic for this series. All the 5 Gorosei members arrived in front of Luffy. Instead of all the 5 Gorosei members killing Luffy really fast and then working together to take out Vegapunk's broadcast, they decided to split up for some stupid reason. I mean, one of the Gorosei members just started attacking random Pacifistas. Why didn't he try to help Saturn and the worm Gorosei member in trying to take out Luffy? Why did he go after random Pacifistas? The Gorosei are absolutely brain dead. The giants Dorry and Broggy appeared on Egghead to help Luffy fight against the 2 Gorosei members that were attacking Luffy. The giants managed to slash one of the Gorosei members in half. Reminder that one of the giants was almost killed by Mr. Tree. The second giant was pretty much captured by Mr. Tree, unable to escape. Mr. Tree is one of the weakest characters in One Piece, and Gorosei were revealed to be on the same level as an admiral, if not even higher. Literally no one had Dorry and Broggy in their top 100 strongest characters list. So how are they this strong all of a sudden? You may say that they got stronger after the 2-year time skip, but they trained and fought for hundreds of years, and I'm supposed to believe that only 2 years made such a difference. Ridiculous. Katarina Devon and one augur of the Blackbeard pirates arrived on Egghead. Saturn saw them, and instead of stopping them with his ability that makes people fall on their knees, he just allowed them to leave. Did Saturn just forget he had that ability? Because when Franky was trying to escape with Luffy, he used that ability on Franky. But he couldn't be bothered to use that ability on Katarina Devon and one augur. 2 characters who just found out that Pluton is on Wano. The Straw Hats turning Wano found out that Pluton was under Wano, turning Enies lobby. Franky burned Pluton's blueprints in front of Spandam, and Franky claimed that he will never allow anyone evil to ever get their hands on Pluton. So, of course, when Franky found out that Pluton was on Wano, he got distracted by a hot girl and forgot all about Pluton. Just throwing out ideas, but the Straw Hats could have, with the help of people at Wano, tried to take Pluton apart piece by piece. Burn some of the parts, throw some of the parts in the ocean. Salt water will destroy the parts in the ocean. But they simply did not care at all. And now it was revealed that Garibo, who hitched a ride with the Straw Hats from Wano to Egghead, he decided to snitch the location of Pluton to a couple of Blackbeard pirates that were on Egghead. And now Blackbeard pirates are probably going to get Pluton, one of the most dangerous weapons in all of One Piece. And why are the Blackbeard pirates going to get their hands on Pluton? All thanks to the laziness of Franky and the Straw Hats. Sentomaru was supposed to have the best defense in One Piece, but literally everyone can easily break Sentomaru's defense. What is the point of this character? He fights against Kizaru, yells that I have the greatest defense of all time, and easily gets defeated. He fights Lucci, yells that he has the greatest defense of all time, and easily gets defeated. Is this supposed to be a joke character? Are we supposed to laugh every time Sentomaru yells, I have the best defense, and then he gets defeated? I don't think Oda meant Sentomaru as a joke character. During Kuma's flashback, it was revealed that he was obsessed with Nika. This reveal retconned the established lore in One Piece. It turns out that Kuma stalked Luffy when Luffy was only 16 years old, staring at Luffy from the bushes, and also Kuma was there when Luffy knocked out a world noble. Kuma was also there during the Supernovas introduction, staring at Bonney through the window when Bonney was eating. If Oda actually plans out the story from the start, why was Kuma never shown to be in those places during the actual Sabaody arc? Imagine how cool it would have been if we could go back to the arc and see Kuma near the window when Bonney was eating. That would have been a nice Easter egg. But since Oda never planned this out, that never happened. You can go back to the chapter where Luffy punched a world noble in the face. You can go back to the chapter where Bonney was eating. Kuma is nowhere to be seen. This is 100% a retcon. During Kuma's flashback, it was also revealed that Kuma liked to teach everyone the Sun God Nika dance. It is the exact same dance as the one performed during Skypiea. The problem is that during Skypiea, Sun God Nika never existed, so this is 100% a retcon. And if I have to explain one more time why that stupid snake on Skypiea was not Nika, I'm gonna lose my mind. During Kuma's flashback, it was also revealed that Bonney, Kizaru, Sentomaru all knew about Nika. So many characters knew about Nika, but no one ever bothered to mention Nika in 1017 chapters. And this makes sense to the people who read this shit. No one knows how Nika actually looked like. Everyone only knows that Nika was made out of rubber. So, of course, when a guy made out of rubber tries to free the slaves and punches a world noble, Bonney gets really pissed off and threatens to kill the guy. Because being consistent simply does not exist in One Piece. If Bonney knew about Nika pre-timeskip during Sabaody, and Luffy, a rubber guy, punched the world noble in the face, Bonney should have known back there that Luffy is Nika. But every character has to be incredibly stupid for some reason. Eustace, Kid, and Killer gained a lot of character development during Wano arc, so of course, Right after Wano, they both get one-shotted by Shanks, a Yonko. This makes no sense at all, because during Wano, Kid handled himself pretty well against a Yonko. With the help of Trafalgar Water D Love, Kid was able to defeat a Yonko, Big Mom. He gained a 3 billion berry bounty, an awakening ability, and in the next arc, it all got stripped away. Eustace Kid and his entire crew were mercilessly wiped out by a Yonko, and they were helpless to do anything. Eustace Kid, the same guy who defeated a Yonko during Wano, now was absolutely destroyed by another Yonko. He was defeated in a couple of panels. And Kid's right-hand man, Killer, was taken out off screen. It really makes no sense at all that Kid was so weak against Shanks. He should have been able to put up at least some effort against him. I mean, this is the guy who has an awakening ability and got a 3 billion berry bounty for defeating a Yonko. How did he become so weak? Literally like 20 chapters after defeating a Yonko. Can this story be any more inconsistent? Yes, it can. But a reminder to everyone. I have not read after chapter 1110. So all these plot holes, inconsistencies, retcons that I talked about in this video talk about one arc of One Piece. Well, the arc isn't even over. So I'm pretty sure that there are going to be more of these issues with the arc going forward. But I find it funny that one guy, aka me, is able to notice so many mistakes in a single arc. Yet the fanboys, I mean One Piece reviewers who actually get paid to review this series, I mean they literally get money to review One Piece. It's their living. It's their bread and butter. The fact that they are unable to see any flaws with Egghead Arc is absolutely hilarious. How is no one besides me able to see how broken this story really is? Is everyone under some kind of a spell that, I don't know, makes them not see any flaws in One Piece? Because every time I watch a One Piece reviewer's video, all I see is praise after praise after praise. I never see any of these plot holes, retcons called out ever. Literally, the only thing you are allowed to criticize are, oh, fake out deaths and hockey is inconsistent. Yeah, fake out deaths and inconsistent hockey. Two things that you are allowed to criticize.